The human outpost stood alone on the barren surface of Earth-9, a red-tinged planet far from Earth. Dust swirled around the metallic buildings, catching the last rays of the distant sun and painting the settlement in shades of bronze and gold. Inside one of the quarters, Lieutenant Jason Hale sat at his small desk, rubbing his tired eyes. Another long day of scanning alien terrain, mapping dangerous zones, and cataloging unknown life forms had left him exhausted. The silence of the room was comforting, a rare moment of calm after hours spent navigating the unpredictable planet. Jason leaned back in his chair and stared at the small view window. Beyond it stretched a landscape that looked like fire frozen in stone. Jagged cliffs and deep craters created shadows that shifted slowly with the movement of Earth-9 twin suns. He sighed, wishing for a hot meal and a quiet night. Sleep seemed near, yet something in his gut told him the evening would not be as quiet as he hoped. The first indication came as a faint sound, a soft scuffing on the metal floor outside his door. Jason froze, hand instinctively moving to the sidearm at his belt. Nothing like a sudden intrusion could be ignored, especially on a planet where danger often came without warning. He stood and approached the door slowly, listening. The sound was deliberate, careful, but unlike anything he had heard from the usual wildlife or machinery. The door hissed as it slid open and she appeared. Jason blinked, stunned into silence. She was unlike any being he had ever seen. Barefoot, her presence radiated a strange authority, yet there was a softness in her movements. Her robe, a flowing fabric that shimmered with faint metallic threads, fell from her shoulders almost instinctively, revealing patterns etched across her skin. They glowed faintly, like tattoos but alive, pulsating with a rhythm that seemed almost like breathing. She did not move with fear nor with hesitance. Every step was confident, deliberate. "You're mine tonight," she said, her voice low but commanding. Jason's mind raced. He opened his mouth to speak, but words felt useless. Her gaze was steady, unwavering, filled with an intelligence that seemed to weigh him, measure him. He stepped back instinctively, reaching for his sidearm, but something in her eyes stopped him. There was no threat in her expression, only urgency and a strange purpose. He noticed then that her markings were not merely decorative. They were symbols of rank, status, and perhaps a warning. Somehow, he understood that this was a matter of importance far beyond the usual dangers of Earth-9. I don't understand," Jason said cautiously, trying to keep his tone steady. "Who are you and why are you here?" She tilted her head slightly, a hint of a smile crossing her lips, but her eyes remained serious. "I am Rilia. You do not yet understand my people or the customs that bind us. My words are not as you think. Tonight, your life and the future of my world depend on your choice." Jason's brow furrowed. He had dealt with alien life before, but nothing had prepared him for this. He had read reports of emissaries, of ceremonial rites, but this was different. Rilia's presence felt immediate, personal, and urgent. He lowered his hand from the weapon, deciding that any sudden move could escalate the situation. "What choice?" he asked cautiously, his curiosity overcoming his initial fear. "Why me?" Rilia stepped closer, her bare feet making no sound on the smooth floor. The glowing patterns on her skin pulsed gently as if responding to the tension in the room. "You have a quality my people need," she said. "Strength, ingenuity, the ability to act when others hesitate. You are human, and humans survive in ways others do not. That is why you are here, Jason Hale." Jason swallowed hard. This was bigger than anything he had imagined. He had trained for survival, for leadership, for quick thinking under pressure, but never for being chosen in such a mysterious, almost ceremonial way. "Chosen?" he echoed, uncertain. "Chosen for what?" She smiled faintly, though there was no humor in it. "To protect my people. To join in a ritual of alliance. You do not yet understand the meaning of my words, but tonight you will learn." Jason hesitated. Trust did not come easily on an alien planet, especially not when the situation was so unclear. But there was a sense in her words, a logic that resonated with his own instincts. Humans had survived and thrived across galaxies by learning, adapting, and forming bonds, even in the most alien circumstances. Perhaps this was another test, another chance to prove himself. "Then explain," he said finally. "Tell me what I'm supposed to do." Rilia nodded, a small gesture of approval. She began moving toward a small console in the corner of the room, tapping a few sequences that Jason could not begin to understand. A holographic map flickered to life between them, displaying the outpost and the surrounding terrain. Points of light indicated movement, intruders, or perhaps something worse. Her eyes met his. "You see the danger," she said simply. "It approaches quickly. Your choices tonight will determine not just your survival, but the future of our people." Jason studied the map, noting clusters of motion outside the safe perimeter. He had scanned the area earlier that day, yet these movements were new, almost invisible until now. They were clever, calculated. He felt a familiar surge of adrenaline, the same feeling he had faced countless times when survival hung in the balance. "What are they?" he asked, pointing to the moving points. "They are hunters," Rilia replied. "They take without understanding. They destroy what they cannot control. If they reach the outpost, it will fall, and our alliance will be broken." Jason nodded slowly. His mind worked quickly, recalling every tactic he had learned in simulations and field operations. Humans might not have the speed of Rilia's people or the technology of many alien civilizations, but they had ingenuity, creativity, and the willingness to act when others hesitated. That was what made him human, and now that human quality mattered more than ever. "Then we act," he said, a new resolve in his voice. "Tell me what you need me to do, and I'll do it." Rilia's expression softened, a rare moment of warmth passing over her features. "Tonight, you learn our ways, you follow, and you lead when necessary. There is a ritual, yes, but it is more than ceremony. It is strategy, planning, and survival." For hours, Jason and Rilia worked together. She explained customs, rituals, and the significance of her markings, each lesson tied to the survival of her people. He learned quickly, absorbing details about alien technology and cultural practices, adjusting his strategies to integrate human thinking with her traditional methods. As the twin suns set and Earth-9 plunged into its cold, dark night, the tension outside grew. The intruders advanced, their approach masked by natural phenomena that made early detection nearly impossible. Jason's training kicked in fully. He calculated angles, coordinated defenses, and predicted enemy movements. Rilia watched, impressed by his instinctive understanding of danger and his ability to adapt alien techniques with human reasoning. By midnight, the first signs of contact appeared. Shadows moved across the perimeter, but thanks to Jason's strategies, the outpost remained untouched. Rilia's people, initially skeptical of a human's role, began to understand that he was more than a visitor. He was a force of intellect and courage. Jason finally allowed himself a moment of rest, leaning against the wall. The adrenaline still ran through his veins, but a quiet pride warmed him. Humans had survived countless challenges, and here, on a planet far from home, that survival instinct had proven its worth again. Rilia approached, standing close but without threat. Her bare feet made no sound on the cold floor, yet her presence was undeniable. "You have done well," she said softly. "Tonight you are more than an ally. You are a symbol. Your actions will be remembered." Jason met her gaze, the words sinking in. The phrase she had spoken earlier, "You're mine tonight," no longer carried the confusion and fear it had before. It was not about possession or desire. It was about trust, responsibility, and the bond formed through shared struggle. As he looked at her, understanding deepened. He realized that humans had something unique in the galaxy, the ability to rise to challenges, to combine instinct with intelligence, and to earn the trust of beings far older and wiser. This was a human story, a story of survival and ingenuity unfolding on a world that had seemed alien and dangerous. The night was far from over. Danger still lurked and challenges remained. But for the first time, Jason felt a clear sense of purpose. He was not just surviving. He was proving humanity's worth in a galaxy that had yet to fully understand the power of the human mind and spirit. And in the quiet moments, with Rillia's presence beside him, he understood that the adventures of this night were only the beginning. The night on Earth 9 grew darker as twin moons rose in the sky, casting pale light over the jagged terrain. Shadows stretched across the outpost, hiding dangers that even Jason Hale's sharp eyes could only partially detect. Despite the initial success of their defense, the situation was far from over. Rillia stood beside him at the perimeter, her glowing markings pulsing softly as if attuned to the planet itself. She moved with quiet grace, barefoot and poised, a constant reminder of the alien culture he was only beginning to understand. Jason checked his equipment one more time. Sensors blinked faintly, showing movement far beyond the safe zones. These intruders were clever, avoiding the traps and surveillance systems with calculated precision. Jason studied the readings, trying to anticipate their next move. The alien woman's gaze met his, and without words they shared a silent understanding. "They know we are here," Rillia said softly. "They are patient hunters. They will not rush, but when they strike with purpose." Jason nodded. He understood patience, but he also knew that waiting too long could be disastrous. Humans had always survived by thinking ahead, predicting patterns, and acting decisively. He drew a deep breath and began outlining a plan in his mind. They would need to combine alien technology with human intuition to survive the night. Rillia led him through a series of complex maneuvers, showing him how her people set traps that were both invisible and deadly. Jason absorbed everything quickly, making adjustments based on his understanding of human tactics. He suggested small changes, using the terrain in ways her people had not considered, creating unexpected ambush points, and establishing escape routes that relied on human improvisation. "Your mind works differently," Rillia said, watching him. "It is not bound by the rules we follow. That is why you are valuable." Jason shrugged, feeling a mix of pride and humility. Humans were resourceful, but he also knew that survival depended on respect for alien expertise. He combined both approaches, testing each idea quietly and efficiently. Hours passed, each moment tense as the distant shadows moved closer, probing the defenses they had prepared. The first attack came silently, almost like a whisper across the floor. Jason spotted it first, a dark silhouette moving too quickly for ordinary sight. He signaled to Rillia, who moved instantly, activating a hidden defense array. A sudden pulse of energy shot out, freezing the intruder mid-step. Jason moved forward, analyzing the creature's form, its body unlike anything he had seen before. It was sleek, fast, with segmented limbs and a hard, reflective exoskeleton. "They adapt quickly," Rillia said, her voice calm but urgent. "You must think faster than they do." Jason's hands moved over the controls, adjusting settings, predicting movement patterns. He created a decoy field using a combination of human engineering and alien technology. The creature hesitated, confused by the sudden shift in the environment. Jason smiled faintly. Humans thrived in unpredictability, and now his instincts were saving lives. Several more intruders appeared, advancing cautiously. Jason coordinated with Rillia, using a combination of tactical maneuvers and alien traps. Each move demonstrated human ingenuity, a blend of boldness and logic that impressed even her experienced eyes. Rillia's people had survived for centuries by following strict patterns, but Jason broke the patterns in ways they had never imagined. The invaders faltered, unsure of how to respond to unpredictable tactics. Hours passed, and the night seemed endless. Jason and Rilia moved seamlessly, understanding each other's thoughts without words. He realized that humans had something unique in their ability to adapt quickly, to improvise when every outcome was uncertain. This was what made them powerful allies in a galaxy that often underestimated them. At one point, the intruders regrouped, retreating momentarily into the darkness. Jason studied their movements carefully. "They are not giving up," he said. "They are testing us, learning our methods. If we stay reactive, they will find a weakness." Rilia nodded. "Then we will act first. We will take control of the situation." Together, they devised a plan to lure the intruders into a narrow canyon outside the outpost, where the terrain itself would work against the hunters. Jason suggested modifications, hidden triggers, energy fields, and decoys that would force the creatures into a confined space. Rilia integrated the idea seamlessly with her own knowledge of alien technology, and soon, their strategy was ready. The following hours were a tense dance of precision and instinct. Jason moved through the outpost with confidence, predicting the enemy's movements and adjusting traps on the fly. Rilia followed closely, her calm presence grounding him in the chaos. The hunters approached the canyon, unaware that every step had been anticipated. When they entered the trap, Jason activated the final sequence. Energy nets descended, and walls of light confined the creatures. They struggled, powerful yet unprepared for such combined tactics. Jason's heart raced, but he remained focused, knowing that humans had survived in far worse conditions. His quick thinking, paired with Rilia's expertise, turned the tide. After the intruders were neutralized, Jason allowed himself a brief moment to breathe. He surveyed the canyon, impressed by the efficiency of their strategy. Rilia approached him, her glowing markings casting a soft light in the darkness. "You have done more than survive," she said. "You have shown strength, wisdom, and courage. Your people are remarkable, Jason hailed." Jason felt a sense of accomplishment, but also humility. He had relied on both his human instincts and Rilia's guidance. The victory was shared, a reminder that collaboration across cultures could achieve incredible results. As they returned to the outpost, Rilia explained more about the significance of her rituals. What he had thought were ceremonial phrases were actually codes for leadership, trust, and strategic decision-making. "Humans do not follow our patterns," she said. "Yet your ways complement ours. That is why you are here, why you were chosen. You carry the survival of your people in ways that even we could not anticipate." Jason listened, fascinated. He realized that humans had more than physical strength. They had creativity, intuition, and the ability to act in moments of uncertainty. These traits made them uniquely suited to survive and thrive among alien civilizations. The rest of the night passed with continued vigilance. They patrolled the perimeter, reinforced defenses, and monitored the distant shadows. Jason noticed that his confidence had grown. He was no longer just a visitor or an outsider. He was a partner, someone whose actions mattered. By the time dawn approached, the first light of Earth-renowned twin suns painted the landscape in soft oranges and purples. The immediate threat had been neutralized, but Jason knew the danger was not gone. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown challenges and threats. Yet he also knew that humans could rise to meet them. Adaptability, courage, and intelligence were traits that set them apart. Tonight had proven it. Rilia stood beside him at the edge of the outpost, watching the horizon. "You have changed the way my people see humans," she said. "Your actions tonight will be remembered. We are not just allies, we are partners, and this is only the beginning." Jason nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Humans had always fought against the odds, survived in environments that seemed impossible, and risen above challenges that others could not face. Here, on a distant world among an alien people, that same spirit had saved lives and forged a new bond. As the suns rose higher, warming the outpost, Jason felt a deep sense of purpose. He was no longer just a soldier or an explorer. He was a representative of humanity, proving that their resilience, creativity, and courage could impact the galaxy in ways that no one had expected. Rilia turned to him, her expression serious yet kind. "Tonight, you proved yourself. Tomorrow, we face new challenges. The galaxy is not as simple as it seems, and your presence here is more important than you know." Jason smiled faintly, feeling a mix of exhaustion and satisfaction. He had survived the night, earned the trust of an alien civilization, and demonstrated that humans were a force to be reckoned with, not through brute strength alone, but through intelligence, adaptability, and heart. As they prepared for the next phase of their mission, Jason knew one thing for certain. Humanity had arrived, not just as explorers, but as pioneers capable of facing the unknown with courage and ingenuity. And whatever challenges awaited them, he and Rilia would face them together, combining the best of human resourcefulness with the wisdom of her people. The night had tested them, and the dawn marked a new beginning. For Jason Hale, this was more than survival. It was proof that humans could stand tall among the stars, earning respect and shaping the future, one decisive action at a time. The suns of Earth Renine had risen fully, casting bright light over the jagged terrain. The outpost looked peaceful, yet Jason Hale knew better. The attacks from the night before were only a warning. The creatures they had fought were scouts, testing the defenses. The real threat, the main force, was still out there, waiting for the right moment to strike. Jason checked his equipment, noting every sensor reading, every signal that might indicate movement in the surrounding valleys and canyons. Rilia stood beside him, her glowing markings reflecting in the sunlight. She moved with a calm precision, her bare feet touching the ground silently, yet her presence commanded attention. "They will come soon," she said, her voice steady but filled with urgency. "We must be ready. This is not a test. It is the battle that will decide the survival of my people." Jason nodded. Humans thrived on challenges, on situations where quick thinking and courage made the difference between life and death. He felt the familiar surge of determination. Tonight, he would not only survive, he would prove the value of humanity in a galaxy that often underestimated it. The first signs of the main force appeared as faint ripples in the dust far beyond the outpost perimeter. Hundreds of figures moved in coordinated lines, their shapes strange and alien, their speed and precision unlike anything Jason had faced before. He studied them, noticing patterns in their movement. While they were disciplined, they were predictable in ways that humans could exploit. "We will use the terrain," Jason said, pointing toward a narrow canyon leading toward the outpost. "We can channel them into a trap. There, their numbers will not matter." Rilia nodded, trusting his judgment. Together, they quickly set up defenses, combining human ingenuity with alien technology. Jason suggested placing decoy signals to confuse the enemy, while Rilia activated energy barriers that could isolate groups of attackers. Each move was calculated, precise, and designed to maximize their advantage. As the enemy approached, Jason felt a surge of excitement. Humans thrived in these moments when danger demanded creativity and courage. He coordinated every move, signaling Rilia and the defenders to adjust positions, set traps, and prepare for the first wave. The creatures reached the canyon entrance, unaware of the deadly surprises awaiting them. Jason activated the first trap. Walls of energy sprang up, forcing the invaders into narrow paths where their numbers became a disadvantage rather than a strength. Hidden spikes, alien netting, and carefully positioned force fields slowed their advance. The creatures faltered, confused by the unexpected obstacles. Rilia moved beside him, directing her people with calm authority. Her glowing markings pulsed with energy as she activated additional defenses, integrating Jason's human tactics seamlessly with her people's advanced technology. The enemy struggled, and for the first time, Jason saw doubt in their movements. The battle escalated quickly. The invaders adapted, trying to find weaknesses in the human-alien strategy, but Jason anticipated their actions. He led small counterattacks, using quick maneuvers to flank and isolate groups of enemies. Each action demonstrated human courage, intelligence, and adaptability. Rilia's people followed his lead, recognizing the value of combining their traditions with his improvisation. Hours passed, and the canyon became a chaotic battlefield. Dust rose, energy fields crackled, and the strange creatures fought with relentless determination. Yet Jason remained focused. He analyzed every movement, predicted every pattern, and made split-second decisions that saved lives. His ability to adapt, to act when others hesitated, proved decisive. At one point, a massive group of invaders broke through a section of the energy barrier, threatening to overwhelm the defenders. Jason did not panic. Instead, he quickly calculated a countermeasure, using a combination of human-made traps and Rilia's energy systems to redirect the attackers into a confined space. The invaders became trapped, unable to escape, their strength useless against the strategy he had devised. Rilia watched, her eyes reflecting a mixture of admiration and relief. "Your thinking is unlike anything my people have seen," she said. "You are not just brave, you are clever, resourceful, and decisive. That is why humans survive where others fail." Jason allowed himself a brief smile. It was not pride that drove him, but the understanding that humans had qualities that even advanced civilizations could respect. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability were the tools that had kept humanity alive through countless challenges, and now, on Earth-9, they were proving their worth again. The battle raged for hours, with Jason and Rilia working seamlessly. They anticipated attacks, countered strategies, and adapted to every change in the enemy's behavior. The humans and aliens fought not just for survival, but to prove that collaboration could overcome even the most relentless adversaries. Finally, as the suns reached their highest point, the tide turned decisively. The invaders, exhausted and trapped, began to retreat. Jason coordinated the final maneuvers, ensuring that the enemy could not regroup or return. The defenders cheered quietly, aware that the outpost had been saved and that humanity had played a critical role in the victory. Rilia approached Jason, her expression filled with a mixture of gratitude and respect. "You have done more than survive," she said softly. "You have changed the way my people see humans. You are a symbol of what your kind can achieve: courage, intelligence, and the will to act when it matters most." Jason felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Humans had often been underestimated, dismissed as primitive or impulsive by other species. Yet here, on a distant planet, their qualities had proven invaluable. He had not only saved lives but earned the trust and respect of an advanced civilization. As the dust settled and the defenders regrouped, Jason and Rilia took a moment to survey the battlefield. The invaders were gone, the outpost secure, and the first step toward a lasting alliance had been achieved. The phrase she had spoken long before, "You're mine tonight," now carried a new meaning. It was not about control or possession. It was about trust, responsibility, and partnership. Rilia turned to him, her glowing markings pulsing gently in the sunlight. "The galaxy is vast," she said. "Challenges will come, but humans have proven they are capable. Your actions tonight will be remembered for generations. You are not just a soldier, you are a representative of your people, and you have shown that humans can rise to meet any challenge." Jason nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He understood that survival was not enough. Humans had to show their worth through courage, creativity, and the ability to act decisively. Tonight, they had done more than survive. They had made a mark on the galaxy, one that would not be forgotten. The outpost began to recover from the battle. Repairs were made, injured defenders tended to, and strategic plans updated to prevent future attacks. Jason worked alongside Rilia and her people, sharing insights and strategies. Each action reinforced the bond that had formed between human ingenuity and alien tradition, creating a partnership stronger than either could achieve alone. As evening approached, the twin moons rose again, casting soft light over the repaired outpost. Jason and Rilia stood together, surveying the horizon. The air was still tense, but there was a sense of accomplishment, of hope. Humanity had proven its value, and the future of this alliance looked promising. Rilia spoke softly, almost contemplatively. Humans have a way of surviving that is unique. You act when others hesitate, you think when others fear. Tonight, you have shown that courage and intelligence can change the outcome of even the most impossible situations. Jason smiled faintly. It's what humans do. We adapt. We survive. And when it matters, we fight, not just for ourselves, but for those who rely on us. She nodded, her glowing markings reflecting the soft light of the moons. Then we are fortunate to have you here, Jason Hale. You have proven that humanity is a force to be reckoned with. Tonight, the galaxy saw what your people are capable of. The night was calm, but Jason knew that the universe was far from simple. There would be new challenges, new threats, and new opportunities. Yet he felt a deep confidence in what humans could accomplish. They had survived worse than alien attacks, they had solved impossible problems, and they had risen to the occasion when it mattered most. For now, he allowed himself to rest, leaning against the wall of the outpost with Rilia at his side. The glow of her markings illuminated the room softly, a reminder of the bond they had formed through the trials of the night. He understood that this partnership was more than temporary. It was a beginning, a proof that humans could stand alongside even the most advanced civilizations, respected not for strength alone, but for courage, intelligence, and resilience. As the first light of dawn touched the horizon, Jason felt a quiet pride. Humanity had arrived on Earth Renine not merely as visitors, but as survivors, innovators, and partners. The galaxy had seen their worth, and he knew that the story of this night would echo far beyond this planet. He looked at Rilia and nodded. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. She smiled faintly, her glowing patterns pulsing in quiet affirmation. Together, Jason Hale. Humanity and my people, side by side. This is only the beginning. And with that, they turned to the horizon, ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy would throw their way, confident that humans could rise to meet them, as they always had, with courage, ingenuity, and an unbreakable spirit.